So you're ready to buy a house, but do you know what you're getting into? Do you know what it's going to cost you? Are there any costs with buying a house? Who's paying the commission? All of these types of questions I'm going to answer here. So what we're going to start with is we just need to put out a blanket statement that all of these fees are approximate. Your specific situation could change. I can't guarantee what these prices are going to be for you. And there's a few very specific situations that you might be paying way more or way less. And you never know. There's no standard rate for these types of things. Although I'm going to go through some of the most common expenses that people incur. So what we're going to start with is the deposit. So usually the deposit is about 2% of the purchase price. And this is going to come out of your down payment. What a deposit is if you are signing on a contract that I'm going to buy this house, I promise you guys I'm going to buy it, you can put in a few things that are clauses that say, I want to look at the house in an inspection before I buy it. I want to see what a professional says about the condition of this house before I agree to purchase it. The other common thing people say is financing. So I'm going to make sure the bank is going to give me the money 100% before I buy this. So those are two of the common things. There's other things that you can put in, but there comes a point where you say, I'm going to satisfy these conditions. These are all good. We're good to go. There's no turning back. You also have a choice at that point to say, no, I'm not going to. So it's the point at where you're going to make that choice and really commit or not. At that point, if you commit and then you back out, you lose your deposit. If you're not happy with the inspection or you turns out you can't get financing or something like that, before that condition removal date, you still get that deposit back. But after that, you will lose that deposit. And it's because they know that you have skin in the game. If there was no consequence, or maybe it was $100 or $200, well, you found a nicer house over here. Okay, we're gonna scrap it and leave. But if you have $7,000, it gives the buyer some commitment because they're gonna be taking that property off the market because it's a pending property now, and they're gonna lose the chance to possibly get another buyer or two in there. And so they want some commitment on your end that you are going to lose something if you back out at a certain point. So that's the deposit. The next thing is going to be the inspection. Like I talked about, you want a professional in there. And I have a whole video and blog. Go check that out. It's on inspections. And that's very important as well. You want to know the condition of the house from a professional. You might be a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician, and that's good. But unless you have this type of experience, you should really get a home inspector. Again, more of why you should get a home inspector in those other blogs. But a home inspection you can pay around $500. The next thing is your appraisal. Now, this one isn't as likely if you're paying under 20%. If you're paying over 40%, the bank is no longer insured on the mortgage. Again, another video about the insurance. They are no longer insured on the mortgage. So if you lose your house and they don't get any of their fees covered by insurance. So they really want to make sure that that value is in your home. So if you lose your home and you buy it for $300,000, they're going to be able to go around and sell that home for close to $300,000 and get their money out. So they're definitely going to have an inspection in that case or an evaluation. Depending on the deal and depending on your mortgage broker might pay that. And so you might have to pay it, and it totally depends. If you have over 20%, you will have to. Generally, you don't have to if it's only 5%, 10%, under 20%. Generally, you don't have to. But there are, again, situations where that does come up. The next thing is title insurance. Now, I think everyone should get title insurance. It's only $300, and it covers you for a lot of big things that have a small chance of happening, because there's a small gap of time in between when you actually get possession of the house and when the seller doesn't have possession of the house. In between that time, while the title is transferred into your name, there's a small gap of time there. And if something gets delayed, it can set off a bit of a domino where you'll incur a lot of fees because of the delay in the process. So there's a small chance of it happening, but you will want that coverage if something goes south in that scenario. The other thing that it does, and possibly the bigger thing, is that when you buy a house, the seller has to provide a current RPR, which is a real property report. Now, what that says is exactly where everything is positioned on the lot. This is where the house is, this is where the fence is, and the shed, and all of these fixtures are put onto this. Now, let's say, for instance, you look on the property report, and it says the fence is here and here and here. Well, that's fine. It looks like it's there, but maybe in reality, the fence is actually bumped 2 inches over onto the neighbor's side. Now, if you had a neighbor that didn't want to resolve it, only wanted you to move that fence over the 2 inches, well, the cost for that would be covered because you didn't know, realistically, looking at the fence, that it was 2 inches out of place. You can see that on the drawing on the RPR. So something like that, title insurance will cover as well. So things like that, it's only $300 again. It's a one-time payment for the house, and it will cover you big time if you end up needing it. Then there are the lawyer's fees. The lawyer's fees for the buyer are the biggest expense that you will probably face in this in an average transaction. It's usually the biggest one people face, and I like to say it's under $2,000. Again, depending on the situation, there could be more legal documentation that the lawyer has to look through, and they'll charge you for that extra stuff. Sometimes it's, you know, around $1,000, but it's important to be able to budget it so you don't lose out later. So you're not slapped with a bigger bill than you're expecting. So it's good to over prepare and have to under deliver on those fees. The next thing is the remainder of the down payment. So once you satisfy those conditions, once you sign the papers at the lawyer, maybe a week or two before possession date, the bank will want the remainder of your down payment. So if your down payment was say $15,000 and you paid 7% deposit or $7,000 deposit, then that would be $8,000 remaining from the rest of your down payment. So the bank would want that. So that'll be your next cost, is the remainder of that down payment. And then you want your utilities hooked up because you gotta be able to run water, you gotta heat or cool your house, and so it depends, again, totally depends where the city is, the utilities that are offered there, and the situation. In Edmonton here with EPCOR, they are what you might call the standard utility company. So you automatically will hook up to them if you don't choose anything else. They say multiple times you can cancel at any time, but if you just need something hooked up, easy peasy, they're the ones to go with. And they can be as little as $25. If you have good credit, they can do a soft credit check on you. It won't affect your credit score. They just want to see, and if it's good, then they will not charge you an initial fee. If your credit is bad, if you have a certain situation like that, they want more security. So they will ask for a deposit that you can get back, but that will be about $485 up front. So you might want to talk with them before, talk about your specific situation, and they can help you get a little bit more exact on that. One of the most fluctuating costs through all of this is the moving cost. It can cost you as little as a couple tanks of gas. Maybe you bike over because you have a backpack full of stuff. Who knows? But it can be as cheap as that, or you can spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars getting professionals to pack up everything, move everything, unload it. It can get pretty expensive. So you're going to want, lots of companies do free quotes, get quotes from companies if that's something that's important to you. And the last thing is the first mortgage payment. So if you gain possession on the first of the month and you are doing bi-weekly payments, in 2 weeks, that's when your first one should come out. But again, you're going to want to talk to your mortgage broker about this. They're going to know exactly when your first one's going to come out. That's generally when it comes out. But again, different situations might have different circumstances. So again, I push mortgage brokers a lot. There's a lot of benefits with going to mortgage brokers. I write a lot about that as well. So yeah, if you have any more questions about this, if you want any more clarity on your situation and what's going to happen, feel free to contact me. My name is Tyson Giesbrecht. I'm with eXp Realty, and my number is 780-991-7617. Thanks.